Hi guys, I thought I'd vlog some of my time on my 7-day cruise, focusing on the food and my thoughts for each dish in this video. I don't know about you guys, but when I think of a cruise, I think a big part of it is the food, along with the different locations and activities there is to explore here. On day 1, we got to Florida. I ate at the Lido restaurant upon arrival, but I wasn't set on documenting my food experience just yet. The main dining room is more of a restaurant style where you order your appetizer, your main course, and the desserts all at the same time. Initially, I didn't take photos of the menu, so I don't know exactly what this was called. I was intrigued on what this appetizer would be like. It turned out to be like a charcuterie style plate. The breadstick had the perfect crunch, and the dried tomato surprised me with how good it was. Personally, the lasagna is always a risk when ordering. For example, I don't like Olive Garden's red sauce, but this one wasn't that bad. It just tasted a little too creamy, but the more I ate it, the better it got. The garlic bread was a huge disappointment because of how hard it was to bite, and it wasn't even that flavorful. For dessert, I got a Jamaican bread pudding, not knowing really what to expect. It had more of a gelatin consistency than a pudding. It was just okay, especially considering and comparing what my friends ordered. Their ice cream came totally melted. Day 2, we arrived at the Bahamas. By the time we got ready, not much was open, so we had breakfast at New York Pizza, which is just like a counter where you order instead of like a restaurant. And I got the bagel and lox. On the port, there was a buffet prepared by the cruise called The Grill, so we went there for brunch. Everything was pretty good. The only thing to note is that I tried my siblings' hot dog, and the bread was notoriously crunchy, as if it was freezer dry, like the garlic bread I had with the lasagna. The cupcake flavor wasn't too distinctive. My brother got one with a lime on top, and it tasted pretty similar. For lunch at the main dining room, for the appetizer I ordered the pozole rojo, but there was nothing red about the one I got, but it was still good. It tasted like egg drop soup, which I really like. And for my main dish, I ordered a fettuccine, assuming it would be the white sauce, but now that I'm trying to find it on the menu, I guess that's what the pomodoro part means. The bread was a bit better, a little less harder to bite into than last time, and the pasta was just a little undercooked. For dessert, I got the double chocolate tart, and it was just okay. For a late night snack, we went back to the New York Pizza, and we got the nachos and Wall Street pizza. This was the most disappointing thing. The nacho cheese was really gross. The texture was almost like it was separated, but it was just not normal cheese. And the pizza looks way better than it tastes. Calling it New York Pizza gives it a higher expectation, I guess. Day 3, we were at sea, so we weren't going to get off the boat today. For days at sea, there's nothing really I'm interested in other than the food, because I was looking forward to something on the itinerary today called the Caribbean Brunch and the Dutch Afternoon Tea. Firstly, at the dining room, we went to the Caribbean Brunch, and this was the menu. For the sweet section, I ordered the banana French toast. It was really moist, really sweet. It reminded me of carrot cake. I just wish they would have served the savory dish before the sweet dish, but that's just a personal preference. For the savory section, I ordered the eggs Benedict. If you knew me, you would know that this is my go-to whenever it's on the menu. It's really hard to go wrong with the eggs Benedict in my eyes, but this wasn't the best one that I've ever had, but it wasn't that bad. I just think that the potatoes were a little undercooked. For dessert, I got the pineapple crumble. I didn't really know what to expect, but I just didn't like it because it was so sweet. And a quick view at my sister's plate. For her appetizer, she got the goat cheese and berries. It looked really pretty. Later on, we returned to the main dining room for the Dutch afternoon tea. Before the trip, I had way overhyped this. I should have expected it as it was, but I thought I'd enjoy it more. As we sat down, everyone was served lemongrass tea. It's not my favorite and something I would not choose. After the tea, we went to the Lido for more of a snack. I got the lasagna. It may be smaller and look less appetizing, but without the red sauce, I think I like the flavor better. But after this plate, they were closing apparently, so that's all I got here at Lido. At the main dining room today was the formal dinner, so I think the place was more busy than usual, and we got sat at the same table with 2 other groups, but this time it was not as awkward as the afternoon tea. For the appetizer, I got escargot bourguignon. It came in this little dish, submerged in oil and garlic flavor. For the main dish, I ordered the roasted lamb. It was pretty good, and the seasoning tasted somewhat like ramen. I was the only one at my table who had so much fat on my lamb. I ended up with at least half of it being fat. And that green jelly on the side was atrocious. It's apparently a condiment to put on your lamb to cut through the fatty flavors. It reminds me of wasabi because you don't expect something like that to have such a threatening flavor. For the final part of the formal dinner, I got lava cake as dessert. This was so disappointing because I thought it was going to be the lava cake I think we're all thinking of, and I was excited for it the whole meal, but inside throughout the whole middle it was just cake, and the chocolate on the outside was just the lava part that it had. And this was the menu. On day 4 we got to the Grand Turk island, and today I don't know what happened, but we went into the Lido and somehow again it's not good for meals, maybe just as a snack area. And I don't know how we always mess up the timing, but they always close an hour earlier before we expected and what it says on the app. We got there while it was open and I had a quick yogurt and some watermelon. Here on port I got a slushie, which is not included, you have to pay for it, and I'd say overpriced for what my friend said that they paid for it. And I wish the ice chunks were bigger because I prefer that texture and so it doesn't melt as fast. By the time we got ready back on the ship, it was dinner time. For the appetizer, I got the duck breast. And the Asian coleslaw that it was on top of was the best part to me. And the sauce around it in the circle was a sweet and sour sauce. For the main dish, I got the mahi mahi. It was not my favorite main dish so far, but those black clams were ridiculously good to me, and the risotto was nice. For dessert, I got the chocolate brownie cheesecake, and it wasn't too good, and the cheesecakes on this cruise seem to be their own kind of cheesecake, not really the same as what you'd expect. Something is just off about it, and the chocolate flavor was also weird. On day 5, we got to the Dominican Republic, but at the New York pizza, I got the bagel and lox again, and then at Lido, I got eggs, bacon, and hash brown, which I'll show what they look like on the last day because it's pretty basic and I always forgot to take a photo of it. At the main dining room, it was Orange Day today, which is the cruise line's tradition. So this was the Orange Day menu. So when we got back, we went to the main dining room. For the appetizer, I got steak tartare, which is kind of what you would expect. It tastes like raw ground beef, but the flavor was overpowered by the stuff on top, which was mostly onion and relish. For the main dish, I got the bami goreng, and it was so good. We compared it to the flavor of Panda Express, but in the best way. For dessert, many of the other passengers were recommending the creme brulee, and I got it and it was really good. Unlike some of the other custards or puddings, this was exactly what you expect a creme brulee to be. Day 6 was a day at sea. We ordered room service for breakfast. Our timing had just barely missed the breakfast menu, so we had to get from the all-day menu. These are the 3 things I got, and then I got a dessert from the kids menu. Firstly, the rigatoni was good and a little basic, but it's exactly what you expect, and it was kinda al dente as usual. The club sandwich is a great sandwich, and it's not too dry because it has sauces and condiments in it within the 3 layers of bread. The banana pudding I got was so good. It was the best dessert in my opinion at this point. The 3-bean chili was pretty good, but it would be perfect if the beans were more cooked. It was a little under like the pasta usually is, and it came with 2 cornbreads. Later in the main dining room, I got the avocado shrimp cocktail for the appetizer, and it was so good. For my main, I got rotel and oxtail. I had the usual issue with the pasta and the bread where it's too hard or like dry, but the flavor was overall really great. The green is like an oil around it, and it had this dollop of ricotta, which I love. For dessert, I got the tiramisu and it was amazing. Even though the layers were more cake than a soaked biscuit, it was just as good. We had a late night snack at Lido. On the plate is mini burritos, and I think inside was chicken, rice, and green peppers. On the left is fried onions, and the right is chicken strips, and under everything was some steak skewers. Everything was so good, but the fried onion was my favorite. We got spaghetti, and the noodles were actually properly cooked. And then for dessert, we had the raspberry drizzle Swiss roll. It did taste a little artificial, but it was still really good. Day 7, we got to Florida. We had a quick breakfast at Lido. I got bacon, scrambled eggs, hash brown, and watermelon. But back from the port, we ate lunch at Lido. And on the plate is beef stew, mac and cheese, lasagna, and yellow rice. And I got the coffee Swiss roll. They're all basically the same, just different flavors, but they're still really good. But they got the fruit tart and red velvet layer cup. Later on, at the main dining room, and for the appetizer, I got the egg roll, which I regretted as soon as I ordered it because it was only going to be one egg roll. For the main, I got the lasagna again, and it actually improved from the first time I had it. And this was my sister's chicken Alfredo that I almost chose. For dessert, I got the key lime pie, and it tasted too strongly for me, but I thought I should try it while in Key West. I also got the chocolate ice cream, and it did not have a smooth flavor, and it tasted like it was from powder or somewhat chalky. This was the menu. Later at Lido, here we have the fried mushroom, chicken, and beef empanada. The fried mushroom had a strong mushroom flavor, and I really liked it, but it was too strong for my sister. And the empanada was filled with ground beef from the spaghetti. The pastry for it was not really a good texture. I got spaghetti and fruit, and the spaghetti was a little undercooked again, but not that bad. For dessert, we got the raspberry Swiss roll, and it was really good. And then on the last day, basically day 8, we arrived to Florida back where we started. I had my usual basic breakfast at Lido, which was bacon, eggs, and hash browns, and this time a mix of fruit instead of just watermelon.